I want to also mention a really special podcast episode that went out this week. If you didn't hear it, I interviewed a guy named Johnny Crowder. And I really enjoyed this one because it was out of the norm a little bit. He is actually, ironically, I guess it's ironic, coincidentally, turned out the guy was a copywriter. But that is not at all. I didn't know that about him before I interviewed him. The reason I interviewed him is because he is a lead singer in a heavy metal band. And he is also a mental health advocate. He suffers with schizophrenia. And man, I'm telling you, the size of the heart on this guy, when he goes to shows, he's all tatted up. He looks the part of a metal singer. No tats right here on his upper chest. And on every show, his bass player takes a marker and writes a word on his chest. And it's often, and I asked him, I said, what makes you decide what to write on your chest? And he said, it's often something about someone in the crowd, a fan, but they don't know we know about their scenario. Like they don't know that we, they'll write us and tell us, hey, my friend passed away, or, I wish he was at the show with me. And so they'll know this, but they don't interact and go, hey, we're going to, so they'll put like, R.I.P. Nick or something, and not letting the kid, and then the singer walks out, and only the kid knows that that's what the message is about. Oh man. I mean, the guy's, he blew me away. And it's just one of, I think, the best interviews I've been able to do, because the guy was so inspired. All I had to do was ask good questions and let the man talk, which is often the case with my guests, and I'm privileged for that. But as a side note, I want to thank you, Johnny, if you happen to see this, because as I brought up on the podcast, my daughter is writing a talk to give at her school in a few weeks. And it's about how music affects our emotions. And he was generous to not only answer a question for her on the podcast, but she's written to him follow-up questions. And I know he's super busy. He's like shooting a TV pilot and all these things. And she just let me know that he responded to her and gave her amazing, in-depth, insightful answers. And I'm telling you, man, that's the kind of stuff that affects people's lives. And sometimes we wonder, people ask you, what's your why? What's your impact? What kind of legacy do you want to leave on the world? You know what it is? It's one-on-one, man. It's like that. Like when you can take a minute out and do something thoughtful, because that's what your heart says to do, that's all the legacy you need, man. You don't have to build an empire to have impact. You can do it every damn day. And that's the kind of guy Johnny Crowder is. And he happens to live right here. So I would love to maybe have an appearance at Copy Chief Live from Johnny Crowder. How interesting and diverse is that lineup already, right? I just always want to keep it interesting and surprising. And that's what we're all about.